Hello and welcome to GPTV on the most fabulous and the very lucky Tuesday, the 18th of May. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
Gary, we talk about luck,
Yes.
but I'm going to jump straight into Phil's beef, not Gary's beef. But something happened to me on Saturday that I'm still speechless with, viewers.
Yep.
So I want some feedback on this because I'm not a pet person. Grew up on a farm. Animals were very much about production for us, and we produced animals. And yes, unfortunately, they did end up on your dinner plate.
Can I guess?
No,
I want to guess.
You can't.
Your
Go
leg,
on.
Your leg got humped by a dog. Is that right? Because I've seen that happen before, and I know you got very upset.
That's never happened to me at an auction.
Okay, that was fair enough.
See, that's just schoolboy humour, Gary, and we've been criticised for sort of blokesy school.
Well, you're talking about animal. How many things can happen with an animal? What, you ran into a sheep or something, couldn't get to an open for inspection?
Before for blokesy, misogynist, schoolboy, conservative humour.
Yeah, and they're the people. That love watching the show, aren't they?
So something happened to me on Saturday, and just to go through, I'm not a pet person. I do understand that people like their pets. I do understand that pets are great company. And I do understand that for some people, pets are very much an alternative to their rotten husband or less
grotty kids
I won't even go with a wife. But I get it. I get some people are attached. So on Saturday, Gary, I'm standing on the nature strip in Leopold Street, outside the most beautiful, beautiful home. If you haven't seen number 29 Leopold Street, I suggest you see it. Anyway, I'm standing there in conversation with a buyer. And a woman's in my peripheral vision, I see this woman walking her dog.
Well, now people can do that. Nothing wrong with that.
This woman, late 40s, just a normal, everyday person walking their dog in South Caulfield.
As you do.
And she looked pleasant.
Okay.
She walks alongside behind me, walks past, doesn't interact with us. That's all good so far.
She doesn't have to.
Then her dog, which is on one of those pull-out things, leaves her on that pull-out thing, goes over to our board, which is literally, Gary, in front of me and the buyer. And she's watching, because I'm watching her, watching her dog, and her dog sniffs the board, and then her dog lifts its leg, pisses all over our board, to which I'm looking at the dog, I'm looking at her, and her expression on her face is completely,
like
well, of course we would let the dog piss on your board. And you know me, Gary, I'm a bit fiery, right? I'm a bit fiery.
You can be,
And I'm thinking to myself, something ugly might happen in a few moments, but I retained my composure. I said nothing, but just looked at her, and I thought to myself, is that acceptable? Is that acceptable?
Well, I've got to tell you, I want to compliment.
Well, even our cameraman is looking at us with this putrid look on his face, saying, "No, that's not acceptable."
Well, I want to compliment Bell Property on their great dog training abilities, Phil, because I think that's an extraordinary. I'm not saying it was them, no, but I've got to say, Phil, that look, you know what? Once the board's out, it's in the public space. It's free to do as you want. And I think if it just lifted one leg and did that, you know what? Probably in the dog's. I think that's the dog's way of actually validating the quality of our brand. I see it in a whole different light. I actually see that as maybe the board was dirty and the dog was trying in its own canine way to clean the board. I've got no problem.
So viewers,
no problem at all.
I'd love to
have a good time,
I'd love to get some opinions around this, because I personally found that behaviour of that woman to be repulsive. And the fact that she just allowed it to happen as though, you know what? Of course I'm going to piss on the agent's board.
Exactly.
You know what? I suppose.
Well, it wasn't like it was you.
I suppose I'm only lucky that she had a dog.
Exactly right. I think we'll just leave it at that then, Phil.
I hope you caught that.
Yeah, I caught that. I caught it. I saw it. It's hard to unsee, and I think we'll just move on.
Wondering,
as W.C. Fields once say, you should never work with dogs and children. You know,
that woman is watching, and we've just lost you as a viewer. I'm not entirely unhappy.
Fair enough. Well, you know what? I'll welcome you back. I don't mind. I love dogs, and I've got to say, I love animals. Phil, I come home at the end of the day, and you know what? There's only one being in our house that's happy to see me. That's the dog.
Without question,
dogs at the door, barking, waiting, licking, humping.
I've got to tell you, Gary, if your dog ever learns to shop online, that'll be that's going to be one less
relationship will be damaged.
In your household.
No question at all.
So anyway, viewers, I'm
there
sorry
we
to
go.
get off on that note, but
Yeah.
it's
Interesting, yeah.
even 48 hours on, I'm
Yeah,
still
yeah.
perplexed about the human
Well,
condition.
I tell you what, a well-trained dog can do all sorts of tricks, Phil, and luckily you
The
don't need
headline
that.
for GPTV: Is it
yeah,
okay
yeah.
for
A dog
for dogs to piss on our boards?
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, if it was an opposition's board, it's
Completely acceptable.
what would you have said then?
I would have said the dog's too small.
You would have been fist bumping. You would have said, "Is there any more in the litter?" You would have brought them all
I
out.
wish I'd actually filmed that just for the moment of sheer
exactly.
incredulousness on my behalf.
And what was she doing? Was she looking at
She
you
was
like
look-
staring at you like,
swear-
"Ha-ha," or
I
was she
swear
just looking the other
just
way,
looked at
nonchalant?
me
Yeah.
like that's okay
Yeah,
behaviour.
yeah. And how dare, or what are you
Do you know
thinking
what?
about?
I was going to follow her home, right?
Yeah.
I was serious. I was going to follow
Now it's
her
getting-
home.
now it's getting creepy, yeah.
Just walk onto her property
Yep.
and pee on her letterbox.
Yeah, Phil, I think it's. I don't think
see-
that's necessary.
And see how she would be
I
about
don't
this.
think that we are exactly. We have descended from animals, Phil. So or ascended, I should say,
Anyway,
not
there's,
descended.
there's enough.
Wrong
There's
term.
enough about that.
I
But
wanna-
viewers,
yeah.
send in your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
We'll give you a nice prize. It
Yes.
will be,
Ideas at GaryPearce.com.au. By the way, Phil, I want to ask another question
Yes.
here, and this is getting back to property. Do you think when you go into a property that you can feel the love of a property? Do you think that sometimes that you walk into a home,
absolutely, Gary.
and I think, can, as Elton John said in The Lion King, can you feel the love tonight, Phil? And I think, I've got this theory that homes have got a vibe far beyond the material appearance of them.
Well,
Do you
there's no.
think so?
I'm in agreement, Gary.
Yeah.
And
I think
mind
you feel love,
you,
yeah.
there was that case in Sydney. I mean, this is kind of on the same level. There was a case in Sydney that made case law,
Yes.
where some people of
Now you're gonna take it to an
Chinese
ugly place, descent, yeah.
some people of
Chinese
Chinese
background,
descent
yeah.
bought a house
Yes.
in somewhere in Sydney.
Yeah, the western suburbs,
and the
I know.
agent there did not disclose.
As they wouldn't,
that the entire
yeah, probably.
family
Well,
had
as
been,
they
had
maybe
been
should have, as they didn't
murdered
at that
in
time.
that house.
Yeah.
I think there was 5 people
Maybe they should.
murdered
Yeah.
in the house, probably because their dog had weed on an agent's board, and the agent was just, "I'll fix you."
I don't think so, Phil. Yeah, psycho agent.
So the Asian people had bought the house. It hadn't been disclosed to them.
Yeah.
And in this particular family's culture, buying a house where death by violence had occurred was not good karma. It was not
Well,
good
you
feng
know,
shui.
and I think-
anyway, the family was able to get out of that sale,
Yeah.
and created some case law. So I suppose back to Leopold Street,
Yep.
I've now got to disclose that you are going to be buying a house in an area where the neighbours' dogs will just
Yeah, we're on your
piss
boards.
you.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, only on your boards, and probably only confined to real estate agents. But
Okay, what was
look,
your point?
I
Your
asked the
point,
question,
yeah.
and I mean that's an interesting point, by the way, that you've raised, because I feel sorry for the buyer, I feel sorry for the seller, I feel sorry for the agent, because what do? You stand at the open
talking
inspection.
about- we're talking
I'm
about
the
China
one in
now.
Sydney now, because you stand at the open inspection, you say, "Oh, hello, John Smith, welcome to the house. Please make your way through. By the way, the room on the left's where the murder happened, and the room on the right, that's where the body was
That's
found.
where he plotted the
That's where he
murder.
plotted the murder. And in the
not-
kitchen,
not-
that's where
not
they
to,
tried
and not to make light of
No,
the
of
tragic
course, terrible.
circumstances,
But how do you do
imagine
that?
the photo
Yeah.
on the board
Yeah.
was just the police tape from the crime scene.
It's shocking, Phil. I mean, I don't know how you disclose that. Again, we're not. I mean, we do make light of
We
dark
do, of
things
tragic.
because that's part of the show.
Yeah.
We're here not to get you down. We're here to lift you up because goodness knows enough of the news, what's going on in the world.
Would you buy a house
It's bad.
just out
So
of
you
interest?
come here to get your light and have fun.
Would you personally buy a house, in all
Yep.
seriousness?
Yep.
Because we may as well
Yep.
make this into an intelligent show. But if the agent declared
How are
to
you going to make an intelligent show if we're on it?
the agent declared to you that
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Pear, I
Yeah.
know this is the perfect house for you,
Yes,
but
we
before
love
you
it.
proceed to the contract of
Yes.
sale, I just need to tell you that in
Yeah.
the lounge room where you'll be having lovely family celebrations
someone was
and
beheaded
parties,
right over there, yeah.
5 people were stabbed to death
Yeah.
in this lounge room.
Yeah.
Would it stop you from buying that house?
Look, I'm in a very difficult position to answer that question, and if I'm going to be political about it, I would have to say that I don't want to answer it. Look, hard question to answer. I'd have to ask my wife. I'll defer to her. I don't think she'd want to buy it, but look. Maybe you could say, well, it's had its bad luck, Maybe all the other houses
Yes,
where there haven't been,
Yeah.
imagine if you buy the house next door where it hasn't happened yet, maybe that's where it's going to move
So
on to.
there is no record showing that something like that has happened in
Yeah.
the same house twice. Is
Exactly
that your
right.
theory? Okay.
What are the chances, eh? What
Let's
are the chances?
jump
here?
into the
No,
weekend.
you got me off track. Can you feel the love, Phil? Because I've got to talk about the auction of the week for me. And it wasn't the most expensive property, but I got out to Hewenden Road, Phil,
Yes.
to auction this home. And it
That
was
apartment?
a beautiful apartment. And you know what?
Big
Some
result there
places,
too,
it
Gary.
was a big result, Phil, but I got to say that sometimes you walk into a place and you just feel it.
Feel the love?
And not only that, but the story was, I walk in there, the vendors are together, the most delightful young, lovely couple, delightful couple, and I just say, look, I'm going out to the auction. Is there anything you want me to say? You're ready to go. I always like to ask it in, and they go, well, we're together, we're moving out, we want something bigger, and this has been my apartment, but she lived upstairs, and we got together, and now we're moving out together to our next home, and we are together.
Story?
So it was a love nest.
Oh, Gary,
it's the love nest.
Young people today, they take any opportunity, Gary, to
unite,
to hook up with people in the building.
Well, there you go. So a bit of a not Peyton Place. What was the other one called?
Melrose.
Melrose. A bit of a Melrose Place scandal there, but lovely people. And the buyer, Phil. Well, let's say for the purpose of this, his name is Dennis. Who is
Dennis?
Dennis.
Really?
Yeah. Let's just say let's just say the purpose of this, his name is Dennis. And I've got to say that Dennis is a GPTV watcher. So g'day, Dennis.
Shout out to
Congratulations. He's one of those people with a big personality, booming voice, and he was the buyer of that auction. He sparked it up. There's about 120 people there. And Dennis said that he watched the Carnegie Report, the show that we do with Lee Samuel to review Carnegie. If you haven't seen it, go on our website, click onto the Carnegie Report. And he quoted, as he was signing the contracts as the buyer, Philip, he quoted and said, well, as I saw in the Carnegie Report, today's premium is tomorrow's bargain, stated by Lee Samuel. So
good
there
on
you go.
you,
So well done,
and well done
Leor.
to you, Dennis.
Yeah, good on Dennis. Wish you a happy time there.
And
shout out
to the person that owned the first floor that hooked up with a woman on the second floor, the man on the second floor. It's all good. And if you're living in an apartment building and if you haven't met the people in your building, I suggest you go downstairs to the buzzer and just go, I'm single. How are you doing today?
Come over for a drink, and who knows what will happen.
This
Where will lead?
The longest introduction, Gary.
Mervyn Street, Bentley, Phil. We should talk about that.
Well, firstly, I want to say that the industry again had a good clearance rate. We were both industry and Gary Pure and Associates around 78%.
Pretty aligned there.
And
78%.
again, vendors, anything in excess of 75% clearance clearly represents a seller's market. So if you are thinking of selling, come to the market quickly as the stock levels start to dissipate over June, July, August. Great time to put your property on the market because there is less houses, less apartments in competition with you.
And we love it.
Good
clearance rate. We're not going anywhere.
Give us a couple of results from the weekend because we've got so much to go through and you're so long-winded.
What about the article in the Australian Financial Review on Monday, Phil? You talked about that at our sales meeting on Monday. Talked about the property prices maybe have sort of slowed.
Yes.
They're still growing.
Yes.
They said this is what they said. This is what the experts said, Phil.
Yes.
It's not us now. They said that the property prices will continue to go, but at a slower rate.
Yes.
So they're still going to go up, Phil, but maybe some of the intense heat, the combustion, Phil, no longer there.
The article did say that a bit of the heat's coming out of the market, as it always does. The market can't go up weekend after weekend after weekend. Having said that, if you'd come to some of our auctions on the weekend, you would swear the market is still red, white, hot. And speaking of red, how good is the Demons? They're off to a flying start. Not since 1956 has Melbourne had 9 consecutive wins. And I must say they beat a very, very ordinary charade of a club that continues to say, we're going to, we're here, we're up to speed, we're doing something. And of course, Melbourne crushed Carlton in a manner that was befitting. And having said that, Melbourne did not play well because normally a good club dumbs its standard down to the quality of the opposition, and Melbourne effectively dumbed their game down but still did crush Carlton.
Phil, there's not a lot of room for silverware in the cabinets of Carlton. We're very cluttered there with all of our grand finals, all of our flags, but certainly there's lots of empty space there for the Demons. And I hear a lot of Melbourne supporters, they don't really know how to deal with where they're at. They just don't know how to handle it. You've never been here before.
No, we're not true believers, Gary. And I must say it was a very cold weekend out, and Melbourne supporters were somewhat conflicted because the snow is starting to fall at Bulla, and with the lockdown last year, a lot of them did use that opportunity to upgrade their Range Rover, like I did. So we're conflicted: footy or the snow.
Do you turn left or right? Left to the MCG, right to Bulla. It's such a difficult life that you live, you Melbourne supporters. Let's go on to Mervyn Street, Bentley Eastville. That was sold for $1,156,000.
Shout out to Johnny Sweepo from our Bentley office, who is emerging as a powerhouse operator in the Bentley market. So well done, Johnny.
Great auction sign, Redolnik. 4 bidders there. Phil, Riddell Parade. Now that's somewhat of a new benchmark, isn't it? $1,041,000.
We showed this property in our sales meeting yesterday, Gary. We got it up on screen. morning.
Oh, yes.
Because we wanted to deconstruct that sale, because we've been saying for some time that these 1960s and 1970s villas are popular. Well, this one sold over the reserve price by tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's disclosed, Philip, sold for $1,041,000, and I think we're expecting somewhere in the maybe 8s to 9s, so that was way over.
Strong
5
result.
bidders took it forward. Well done, Jeremy Rosens as auctioneer. 6 at 180 Sycamore Street. Well, Phil, that's one of the longest auctions I've ever done. Went for about 50 minutes of bidding, sold for $585,000. Phil, 6 bidders, and I had that interesting challenge. The bidder that you get that doesn't say anything. They won't, they won't say anything. So they'll bid.
They're not in, they're not out.
They're not in,
just
they're not
look
out.
at you.
Exactly right. So you just
and you feel like going, hello.
Yeah, no, and I did. So I actually said a line that's come back to me.
Yes.
And I said, look, if silence has to be taken as a non-bid. Because you can't just say, you just be quiet and just keep bidding. I'll just keep taking your bids.
That's brilliant, Gary. So let me get that again. Yeah. Silence has to be taken as an absence of bid or a no bid.
I think so.
Gary.
Because otherwise you can just have everyone bidding when they're not saying anything, couldn't you?
Well, that's a good point.
But anyway, this person was tricky and challenging, and put me to the test and offered low increments and all sorts of things. Anyway, well done to the vendors, well done to Arlene.
Yes.
And that one
Great
sold
result.
for $585,000.
Yes, with another one.
One more I'm going to the Love Nest again. Sold for $830,500. Something like 6 or 7 bidders for the Love Nest. And well done to, let's call him Dennis, as the buyer who bought a beautiful apartment. And I want to come to the housewarming party because I reckon Dennis throws a good party.
Shout out to the vendors of property that we sold in Royal Parade on the weekend, Gary. Is that disclosed or undisclosed?
It is disclosed. Is it disclosed? Yes, it is disclosed. Yes, it is disclosed.
I can't say the price?
No, you can't.
No, okay, it's undisclosed.
Let me find out.
Okay, you don't need to find out, Gary. Just address the camera. Just look straight down the barrel of the camera, because we can just say that we held that inside because it was starting to rain. We had 5 people bidding for that property. Sold well in excess of the reserve price.
Yes.
Both the owners who had lived in this house.
It's disclosed. Yep.
I can say the price.
Yeah, you can.
$2,880,000, sold well in excess of the range, well in excess of the reserve price. But interesting story there, Gary. We had two. The couple.
Out with it.
The couple.
Yes.
He was in the building industry. Yes. She was in the building industry.
Right. The buyer or seller?
No, the sellers.
Yep.
They knew exactly what worked in terms of family architecture.
Yes.
They built this house for themselves, together with a swimming pool, low maintenance, smaller parcel of land, Royal Parade, and the minute we opened the doors to that property during the campaign, we had floods of people through. So shout out to the vendors of Royal Parade. Well done on a great result, but well done on delivering a house to the market that everybody wanted.
Phil, $3 million in Caulfield South. No big deal.
3's the new 2, Gary. 2's the new 1.
We've sold 3 properties very close to or over $3 million just last week or 10 days, Philip, in Caulfield South.
So we're busy, aren't we?
$3 million in Caulfield South used to be a big deal. Oh no, not anymore.
Won't be long, Gary, before we have a $5 million transaction.
We've had north of 4, Philip. We
have
set
that's
the record.
What I'm saying.
5 is on the way in Caulfield.
It's coming at you.
We've had
coming at you.
Central Caulfield, close to 5, not quite Caulfield South, but off Huntley Road. Let's move on, Phil. 24 auctions this week. We've got plenty to do and plenty to sell. But first, Phil, I want to talk about a couple of feature properties.
Have you seen my Sunday this Sunday?
No, no.
Have a look at my Sunday. I just showed you.
I saw it last night.
10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. So if you want to go out with me for dinner on Sunday night,
and hear him say nothing
to a noisy restaurant, just give me a call. I'll come. But I will not be saying a word. It'll be like having dinner with Marcel Marceau.
And you know what? That would be the best time to go out for dinner with him, to do it then, because I can tell you now, you'd be in for a treat. You were busy on Saturday too. You had 5 auctions in a row.
I did Sunday.
And did well, should say Sunday.
Sold everything?
Sold everything. Well done. Let's get on to some of the feature properties, Phil. I want to talk about this property in Edinburgh Avenue because this is a fantastic I mean, I love this style of this mid-century classic style home.
Post-modernism.
Post-modernism indeed, but what a great looking property this is.
It is, Gary. It's gorgeous. I love this house. How good, by the way, viewers, are our QR codes on all of our advertising?
Oh, do we have QR codes?
If you hold your camera over our QR code, which is either in a newspaper, if we're advertised in the newspaper, on your brochure.
Is that so COVID? Is that the COVID?
On your board. Hover
there and you
your
won't get
camera,
COVID.
go straight through to our website,
it?
and you can get a very rich look at our homes.
Oh,
This property is magnificent.
Different code.
It is number 14 Edinburgh Avenue in Caulfield, a postmodernist house in original condition, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. I hope somebody buys this to refurbish and restore
yeah.
because it's
Beautiful
just
home.
a beautiful
Another
home.
feature property before we get into the auctions is Somerset
Yes.
Street, St Kilda. What an exciting
That's a
property.
bit of a humdinger, Gary.
Right in the middle of the action there.
That is a stunning home. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a carport. And Somerset is a great location. Very sexy real estate.
Phil, we are not going to wait for the weekend for our auctions. No. We are starting off this week on Wednesday. During the day, Phil, we're going to be in Spencer Street, St Kilda.
Yes.
And we are looking forward to auctioning this unique
Gary,
property.
this is an incredible property.
Check out the video
First
tour.
of all, it's an incredible parcel of land of 733 square metres. And literally you could throw a stone and maybe hit the water of St Kilda Beach. But that's 4 houses and you can certainly keep those houses, sell them off individually, subject to council approval and all of that sort of thing. But what a great future development site. Or just a great land bank, Gary, because that is, opposite the peanut farm.
Yep.
Walk to the beach in the morning. Walk to Stoke House on a hot, dreamy Saturday afternoon.
This is taking too long
with
now.
your loved one,
whiz.
or even somebody that you don't love, because after taking them for a walk around that
you
piece of
will
real
love
estate,
them.
saying
will
that you
fall in
own
love.
it.
Phil, spectacular block of flats. What an investment. We are having a run with blocks of apartments, and this is a beauty.
The
Ingham
incredible
Road.
8, Gary. This is a great
Amazing
property
8.
because there's 8 2-bedroom apartments. You can lease them all up and just get a great holding income, or you can refurbish them. You can add some value, subject to council approval, but great location, walking distance to the tram and Hawthorne Road, which is important when you're renting out properties to be walking distance to public transport, and the tram and of Caulfield Park. Moving on
We
quickly.
need to start whipping through these, Phil. Saturday, 11 auctions, 10 suburbs, Phil. How's that?
Okay,
10 suburbs.
let's get into
Let's start
it.
off in West Melbourne. Graham Cullen loves it there, Roden
In
Street.
Roden Street in West Melbourne, that is a fabulous apartment, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 undercover car space.
Armadale Street, Armadale, Phil, great apartment. Simon
Gary,
Dominic
we used to own a property. Oh no, it was in Sutherland Road
yeah,
that
we
we
did.
bought. What a shame we still don't
Yeah.
own it. This is 2
Damn
bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. You can't get a better position than Armadale Street.
Park Street, Alstwick, Philip, what a fantastic
Another
address.
great location, Gary. This is a fabulous apartment of 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 undercover basement car space and a courtyard garden. Doesn't get much better than that.
You don't have to be Einstein to know that Walworth Avenue is a great address, Phil, but you have got Einsteins across the road.
Gary, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of off-street car parking, one of only 2 in a building, and that is a magnificent apartment for somebody to invest and live in and live happily ever after.
Einstein's Cafe, that was, by the way. Phil, Elizabeth Street, Brighton East, one of the premier streets of Brighton
We
East.
love
right
Brighton
near
East, Gary. This
right
is,
near
this is
Langcox
a
Park.
cracker of a house.
Yep.
3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, undercover car parking via a double garage for 2 cars, plenty of land, lots to love. Move straight in and get on with life and live and love Brighton East.
I think I'm going to come and join you at that auction, Phil, because
As
I
you
know the
should.
vendors and I know that street well. Phil, Tranmere Avenue, Carnegie, Leo Samuel auctions at 12:30.
Great spot, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. Tranmere is a great location.
Double auction action on Saturday, Philip, Castlewood Street in Bentley East.
Gary, brand new property. This 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms and a lock-up garage. That is a ripper.
And you'll have the auction honours. Jeremy Rosens gets
will.
that in Inkerman Road, Phil, or Inkerman Street.
2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. That's a great floor plan.
We love the property in Southie Street, Elwood, Philip. This is a generational investment. What a magnificent address. 13
Gary,
Southie Street.
1
Great looking.
title, 2 red deco homes, multiple rewards, says the brochure. You don't get much better address than Southie Street in Elwood, and there's so much upside in a property like that to refurbish, redevelop it, subject, of course, to council approval.
Phil, we are going to be in Grange Road, Carnegie. David Thompson, the expert in the area, of course, and he's the auctioneer for that wonderful 1-bedroom apartment. We're looking forward to that at 2:30. Tatong Road in Brighton East. Phil, Glenn Brick is excited about this property.
Well,
You're the auctioneer.
as he should be, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, lock-up garage, Gary, everything that opens and shuts, a stunning facade, a great location.
And when we listed that, Glenn said, I can't believe what a fantastic property it is. And it is, Phil. We start off on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. You have auction honours in Bialaba Road, back in Corporate
Gary,
South.
a big, beautiful home. This one, 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, bathrooms, an amazing floor plan. It's been beautifully refurbished, a great family home. You can't go wrong with something like that.
Double auction action at 11:30 Derby Crescent, Caulfield East. I know David Thompson's excited about
Gary,
this.
I did the video tour of this property.
Yeah,
That's a very
extraordinary, isn't it?
sexy property. Congratulations to the people that did that refurbishment of that home, because they transformed something good and made it great, and it's stunning.
Munn Street, Phil, Caulfield North is a terrific address. This is a great opportunity.
Gary, beautiful. I mean, this could be a block of land. This could be a house you could move into. This could be a house that you redevelop, renovate. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. That's a great street. Munn Street's a great location
It
too.
is, Phil. I'm going to join you with that auction, as I'm also going to go to the Oron Crescent auction and see you in action, because this
Gary,
is a fantastic building.
Love this building.
Me
I'd
too.
love to own an apartment
Me
in this
too.
building. You know, it's almost like buying a vintage
iconic.
car, and
Yeah.
you just know, like maybe buying a case of Grange.
Yeah.
You put it away, you bring it back out later, and you
it's
just
only worth
enjoy it
more.
or sell it for
Exactly
more. Now, this is a Holger and Holger retro classic. Walking distance to our office. Come and have a look at this apartment. It is incredible.
Cafes all around you, Philip. At 1:30 p.m, we are in Hillside Avenue. You are doing this auction. You're going to
You'll
be busy.
never see
on
a better
Sunday.
presented home than this one, Gary. Feels like a brand new home. Congratulations to the vendors who built this home to live in and love. They're reluctantly moving on. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It is stunning in every conceivable way.
Now, Phil, I have the great privilege of auctioning this property in College Street, Elsternwick, at 1:30 p.m. Phil, there are very few properties that you will see in Elsternwick in this kind of price range that are 4 bedrooms. Count them, Phil. There they are.
Four.
4 bedrooms in Elsternwick. That's a big feature, and this is a beautiful unit, Phil.
It is.
Front villa, single level. Very excited to be auctioning this one. Thanks to the vendor for the opportunity. I'll be having a little bit more of an early night than I usually would on Saturday night to be there, ready to go.
Good on you, Gary. Good
auction.
on you.
Love that
Nicely
property.
described. 811 Rockbrook Road, East St Kilda.
Jeremy
It's a
Rosen's
3-bedroom,
auctions.
1
Yep.
bathroom, fabulous apartment, and a really, really good size. You don't normally get apartments that large.
If you are wandering around Caulfield North on Sunday afternoon, wondering if you can buy a great investment, a great opportunity, a beautiful home, or maybe somewhere to build 2 homes, well, subject to
Or
council
3,
approval,
maybe more.
or 3, Philip, well, you should wander right
Subject
over
to council
to
approval.
number 19 Wander Road.
746 square metres of prime land in an incredible street with a home that could be beautifully renovated. I love that spot, Gary. I love walking distance to everywhere from there. It's kind of Armidale, Malvern, Caulfield North, all wrapped up as one.
It sure is, Phil. The streets in Caulfield North in NFC, Phil, or FNC, NFC, North
FNC,
FNC,
Far North Caulfield.
FNC, Phil, there is no better street in Caulfield North, I'm going to declare it right now, than Findon Avenue and
Well,
Howard.
you
Road,
say that
yeah.
there's not, Gary, but you could also argue that
probably
Cantala,
Cantala,
which
yeah.
we'll talk about next,
I reckon
is
that's
as
right
good.
too. Yeah,
But this
Cantala.
house in Findon Avenue, solid as a rock, this house,
Yep.
built the old-fashioned way, solid brick, lots of concrete.
And
that's-
818 square metres of land, Phil,
Gary, and
prime
a
land.
big back garden, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, double lock-up garage. That's an amazing home, and Findon is incredible.
Just been repriced, Phil. Price guide 23 to 25. Get down to 24 Findon Avenue, 3:30 p.m.
Well,
I'll be there
I'm
with you, Phil.
looking forward to my last auction for Sunday, Gary, which is this beautiful home in Cantala
Great
Avenue,
looking
number
property.
12. It is a classic facade, Gary. That facade will never date, unlike your facade, which is a renovator's
Yep.
opportunity.
Yep.
But this house has been beautifully cared for and improved by the current owners, who lived in this house since I sold it to them, Gary,
remember that.
24 years ago.
No, is it already
But
that
this
long?
house is magnificent.
flies.
First of all, it's 4
Yep.
bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. But one of the nicest things is the Kitchen Mills family, which overlooks a back garden, which steps down to a pool. And I kid you not, this home feels like being in Provence or the south of France. It has got this lovely, lovely European feel. Stunning, absolutely stunning.
Well, we're looking forward to getting to that auction, Phil. That will round out a very big and busy Sunday for you. So I hope your fitness levels remain as they are, because you are a very fit young man.
Well,
fit old man.
I try to be, Gary.
Yeah.
I try to be, because I want to extract the maximum out of life. We're only here
Exactly
for
right.
a short time.
Yes.
Not a long time.
No, good time.
We're here for a good time.
That's it.
And if I maintain a sense of health and vitality,
Yes.
Gary, it enables me
Vibrancy.
to squeeze every last moment out of every second, out of every minute, out of every hour of the day, because we're blessed to live in the best city of the best country of the world. So, viewers, make the most of life.
You know what? You're on
Sell your house on a regular basis, because that's going to help me stay vital.
You know what? You're on a long, wild rant there, but I've got to say, I agree with you on all of it, Phil. You're 100% right. There is no better place to be.
In conclusion, Gary, a shout out to the woman in South Caulfield who pissed on
Bring
our
your
board.
dog.
I forgive you. I forgive
exactly
you.
right. Well, you know what?
I'm over it.
In fact, we're going to put all of our boards out and just let your dog have the best time of its life, because we love animals on this show, as we do buyers, sellers, and of course the viewers on GPTV. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fantastic week.